Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eduardo Romero. I'm a District 3 candidate. I'm running with a passion for wholesale changes and a strong dislike for money in politics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, Mose, for what you've been doing for us. My name is Neha Shah. I am one of the candidates for the District 3 council seat. And my story is that of a lot of us here in America. I'm an immigrant. I moved here when I was 17. And my being here today is a testimony to democracy. And that's what my platform is about, for making sure that we have seats that are taken by folks who believe in democracy, who believe in transparency and building trust with communities. Okay. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And there'll be more time at the end. I do appreciate it, Neil. Thank you. Brock Skinner.
Hello, my name is Brock Skinner. I am running in District 3 to bring accountability and transparency, which is something that our current council has been lacking in.
Okay. Councilmember Velasquez.
Hello, I am Councilmember Jose Velasquez, proud fourth generation East Austinite, and I was actually getting a little sad because I saw a number of folks dwindling out, and I was like, we share some of that riverfront here in D3 also, so we want to make sure folks stayed in the room. But thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, I'm going to begin with you, Eduardo, and then we'll kind of move down as we ask questions. We'll skip around a little bit. To begin with, we're talking about climate change and air pollution. Austin is behind on meeting its existing greenhouse gas reduction commitment, that commitment to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions for the entire Austin community by 2040. Here's the question. How would you get the city of Austin to prioritize and adequately fund climate initiatives to match the scale and scope of the Austin Climate Equity Plan? Be as specific as possible, but please limit your response to 1 minute.
Sure thing. Great question. To be honest with you, I think every question or every issue, every policy that affects the city starts with Austin City Council. I think we need to start by not voting for candidates who are co-opted by special interest. For the last 4 years, Jose has have habit of hosting fundraisers where he raises about $15,000 in average from lobbyists, law firms, developers. To be honest with you, we cannot expect to have a green city when we have candidates or incumbents like Jose who believe city actions, policies, and plans when he is receiving special interest contributions.
Thank you. Neha Shah.
So Austin is behind on 11 of our 17 climate equity plans, and the 2026 climate bond has been pared down. This is a problem. Climate is not a line item or a cost item. We need to be thinking about climate as impacting every aspect of our lives. So as city councilwoman, here are some of my priorities. I would want to prioritize green infrastructure, especially in underserved neighborhoods like ours in District 3. We also need resilient and reliable transit. I do not own a car. I actually learned how to drive when I moved to Texas. And I think this is very important because as costs rise, we need to think about working class Americans who cannot afford to live in a system that is increasingly more unaffordable for them. So I think we need to put climate first. And I think about cities like Copenhagen, where for every dollar that they spend, they get $85 back. And that is smart city planning.
Thank you. Brock Skinner.
Hello. I think for a city that's growing as rapidly as Austin is, achieving zero by net 40 is a little overzealous, but we need to look at where we can be the most efficient and cost effective when it comes to these climate initiatives, making sure that we are getting the most bang for our buck and not putting all of our eggs in these baskets.
Okay, Councilmember Jose Velasquez.
Thank you. I think we need to continue to fund all of the projects that we say that we want to fund, especially equitably when we're talking about both sides of 35. Because unfortunately, as Neha mentioned, on our climate equity plan, we are only on track for 3 of the 17 goals. In 2025, the auditor's report found that tree canopy is not equally distributed across all of Austin. And these are problems that have been there for a very, very, very long time. And just essentially fund the things that we say we're going to do.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question, I'm going to begin with Neha Shah, and then we'll kind of move and then go back. Heavy-duty diesel vehicles like trash trucks are highly polluting. Switching to electric models reduces local air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions and can save money over time, but it requires significant upfront investments in the trucks, transfer stations, and charging stations. The question is, oh, I'm sorry, this is a raise your hand question, so we won't be focusing on any individual answers right now. The question is, would you commit to prioritizing funding the transition to electric trash trucks for Austin resource recovery? Those who would support that, raise their hand. Those who would not, keep your hand down. Everybody here supports the idea of prioritizing the funding of electric trash vehicles for Austin resource recovery. Okay, so now I'll start with you, with Neha. Next question is about environmental justice, and the question is this one. Austin has a long history of environmental racism, with polluting facilities concentrated in East Austin and communities of color. People point to the Dog's Head Agreement as a recent example of this. And there's also, of course, concern over the placement and operation of newly approved Austin Energy gas peaker plants, which may be, the locations of which they may find themselves still not completely understood. The question is, how would you ensure that Black, Brown, and lower income communities are not disproportionately burdened? Be as specific as possible and limit your response to 1 minute, please. Thank you.
Well, this comes back to the very tenet of democracy and having transparent city government. Representation matters. When we have representatives, council members who cannot participate or have to recuse in votes because they are developer-funded boards, example, the Borden plant, or who are making decisions around city infrastructure because they think it's on city infrastructure without community involvement, which is the Dog's Head development deal. I think that's problematic. It erodes trust. And you know what happens? It forces extra pressure on communities, especially our working class communities in East Austin, who now have to step away from earning wages, earning income, taking care of their families, and instead have to show up in City Hall, have to make sure they're keeping track of what's happening at City Hall as if that is their job. So I think this is extremely crucial for us to have city council members who are in service of the community and who are not funded or potentially in conflict of public interest.
Thank you so much. Brock Skinner.
Yes, I mean, I think that these plants should be spread evenly across the different sites in Austin. There should not be a section of Austin that has worse air quality than another section. And
Councilmember Jose Velasquez.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, of course. Without the kind of lengthy preamble, the question is, how would you ensure that Black, Brown, and lower income communities are not disproportionately burdened by polluting industries, essentially, is the question.
Ensure that they're at the table and ensure that people that have been in this fight forever, like my friend Susana Almanza, are able to have a voice at the table. Because for a long time, when we talk about environmental racism, especially in Austin, Texas, it's because those conversations didn't come east of 35. We weren't allowed the same protections. We weren't given the same space at the table. And since we have passed 10-1, that has started to change. It changed slowly because this institution of city government has been held by a select group of folks for a very, very long time. And to articulate something that two folks have already said on this or had mentioned on this panel is a vote that I had to recuse myself from was a vote because I was on a board of a nonprofit that actually helped people stay in their homes and fight displacement. And that was the reason that I had to recuse myself from a vote.
Thank you very much. And we are now going to go over to Eduardo Romero. Yeah.
I think we should start favoring some type of plan where we have a rotation system on where utilities central plants go. For my district and District 3 in East Austin, we already have quite a few of them, especially now with Dog's Head, and which takes a lot of utilities from us. Any type of decision that the city makes is going to impact favorably and negatively somebody, no matter what type of action city council takes. So might as well be upfront with it and make decisions where we have a rotation system on what district in the city or geographical area receives heavy industry plants like a utility plant or so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question, we're going to start with Brock. In the past, Austin has funded an Austin Youth Climate Equity Council to engage young people in implementing the Austin Climate Equity Plan and supporting school sustainability projects. Would you enhance programs like these or others to meaningfully include young people's perspectives in the city's environmental and sustainability policymaking process? And if so, how would you do it? Please be as specific as possible. Limit your response to 1 minute, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I would support something like this. I feel like the decisions that are being made about the environment are actually affecting them more than they'll affect us. And I don't think any decision made by city council should be without public scrutiny, no matter what age you are. So yes, that would be very cool.
Okay. Councilmember Velasquez.
Yes, and it was one of the reasons that I led the effort to restore the funding for our social service contracts, because including, again, the equitable distribution of dollars when we're talking about programs that help folks stay involved and remain involved in their government. And the way that we ensure that level of equity is to ensure that everybody across all sides of Austin are at the table.
Thank you so much. Eduardo Romero.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, of course. The question is about how would you enhance programs like the Austin Youth Climate Equity Council to include young people's perspectives in the city's environmental and sustainability policymaking process? And if you would support, funding that kind of thing, how would you? How would you enhance those programs?
Yeah, there's no doubt that young people are, the future stakeholders of the city. But it's very well-intentioned to form committees composed of well-intentioned high schoolers per se, because that's what I'm hearing from people that are in favor of it. When deciding on where to place a utility plant, with all due respect to all those well-intentioned high schoolers, I'm going to be speaking with experts, grassroots organizers, and activists. There's certainly a place for them, but this heavy emphasis, city council already doesn't follow current stakeholders' interests. So what are they going to be listening to? High schoolers. So if elected, I'll be listening to industry experts and activists as well.
Thank you so much. Neha Shah.
Yeah, when I think about inviting our youth to the table, I think there needs to be more than just inviting them. Everyone loves to quote Greta Thunberg, but how many actually listen to her? How many actually pay attention to the fact that she calls out and the connections of climate change to so many other aspects of our everyday life and spending, like war? And Austin is one of the top cities in this country that's inviting more war tech, more defense contractors. So I'm just going to say, let's put some skin in the game if we're actually going to invite these youth to spend their time, give them hopes and dreams, and then to only dash them when, I'm sorry to say, establishment incumbents just dismiss them because they don't believe what they care about actually matters when it comes to policies.
Thank you very much for that. Just as a radio reporter, I pay attention to audio quality, and I'm a little worried that maybe your mic's a little loud, or maybe even if you just because I know this will be on the radio at some point as well. All right. I appreciate that. Radio, yeah. Maybe it's just me. I just might be a stickler for that kind of thing. Okay, so we are now to the energy section of the forum, and the next question I started with. This is what I was worried about. I started with Brock. Okay, we're going to begin with Councilmember Jose Velasquez. The Austin City Council adopted a goal. You might have heard of it. It adopted a goal of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions for the entire Austin community by 2040 and a carbon-free by 2035 goal for Austin Energy. That's our city's electric utility. But City Council also recently approved the purchase of 400 megawatts of methane gas, also known as natural gas power plants. The question is, would you support canceling the contract for Austin Energy to build new natural gas burning power plants? You can respond yes or no, and then limit your response to 30 seconds.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add? Okay, so Councilmember Velasquez supporting canceling the contracts for new natural gas burning power plants. We'll now move back to Eduardo Romero.
Yeah, I think Jose beat me to the punch with a straight answer, but yeah, pretty much yes. Any type of decision that has been made in private in the past shouldn't happen in the first place. So if elected, I'll be pushing to release any type of documentation we are allowed, because there's some people sign NDAs and whatnot, but so we don't know what we can say. But once I get elected, no more private votes, that's for sure.
Thank you. Neha Shah.
Yeah, it just disappoints me. Okay, so let me know if this is fine. All right.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, yeah.
That's all right. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me.
Yeah.
So I think when I think of Austin, and as someone who works in the tech industry, innovation is difficult sometimes when we don't manage change well, and that's why community is important. So when I think about the decision about the electric trash buses, the trash engines, I mean, that's already being done in Portland, and they're pioneering that. Why can't we be the pioneer of finding alternatives to these gas peaker plants? We could have instead invested in battery storage, and there are many, many countries around the world and cities in the US, New York City, I think, or New York State is looking into that. So that's kind of what I would like to push forward when we're considering. And to answer the question, no, I would not have voted for it.
Yes, and but would you support would you support canceling the vote? The
Yes.
question, yeah, you would.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much. Brock Skinner.
Yes, I would support canceling the contract, but that doesn't mean I would support getting rid of that source of energy by any means. I think that the contract should have been signed with public scrutiny, a little bit more input, but that doesn't mean that we can completely go over to renewable energies. We need to have a backup while we still build that up.
All right, thank you. The next question is, Austin Energy, our city's electric utility, needs additional local clean energy resources. The question is, do you support committing City of Austin and Austin Energy funds to establishing programs that empower low to medium income residents to host batteries and solar installations that are owned and operated by third parties without out-of-pocket costs? You know, a lot of people with single family homes, they might get a solar panel on their roof, but these are programs that might empower low to medium income residents to host batteries and solar installations owned by third parties. Please respond yes, and limit your response to 30 seconds. Eduardo? Yes.
Yeah, I think with every well-intentioned policy that the city budget has, a lot of it is led by goodwill and emotion. I will be in favor of such programs like those, but certainly I will have to be reassured that our return on investment is guaranteed, and not just giving taxpayer money to well-intentioned programs like solar panels to low-income families.
Thank you, Eduardo Romero. Neha Shah.
Yeah, so yes to supporting such programs. However, as someone who also lives on the east side in D3, I recently had to replace my 18-year-old roof. And I know the realities of dealing with that in underserved communities where there's already a lot of strain, financial strain. Those are some things we have to work tangentially with the county, with the state, with the federal. And I know we don't like to talk about the state as our friend, but the truth of the matter is our lack of transparency in what kind of programs we're doing is why folks like Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton constantly come after us. So we can lead with more transparency and more accounting of all the dollars. That will help us get there.
Thank you. Brock Skinner.
Yeah, I absolutely support a program like that as long as it is cost efficient and it actually makes sense. And it's not just us saying pretty words and throwing money into an account. Also, what worries me the most hearing something like this is inviting a third party or the government onto our property, making sure that if I'm a homeowner, I can leave this if I want to, and that now that I've entered, my feet are held to the fire.
Thank you. Jose Velasquez.
Yes, I would absolutely support it. And in fact, in 2024, my office brought an amendment so that renters could participate in the community solar program, being that 70% plus of District 3 residents are renters.
Okay. Next question. We will begin with Neha. Do you support updating city zoning to exclude larger scale data centers to enact a de facto ban? Please respond yes or no and limit your response to 1 minute.
Yes, I do. I actually provide comments on this topic to our technology commission, and I look forward to adding more at the city council meeting this Thursday. Here's the reality. When it comes to innovative countries around the world like Germany, Singapore, they all have very strict standards and moratoriums on where data centers are being built and how that's being monitored. So I don't see this being as a anti-growth or something that's opposed to our economic development. So we need to think a little bit more creatively. Right now, we're being sold an AI future, a tech future that's really predicated and built on corporate greed. And again, as someone who works in the tech sector, I think public is getting a lot of misinformation. First of all, data centers have been around for a long time, but the scale at which they're coming for us, that is very problematic. And because they're building it cheaply at the cost of our taxpayer money, they're making it seem like this is free or cost effective. So this is all cyclical. It's all interconnected, and city council needs to show leadership because we're already behind the game.
Thank you. Brock.
While I'm not a huge data center guy, I don't support really de facto banning anything. I think that data centers bring a lot of tax revenue, jobs, which our city desperately needs. So making sure that if we are bringing in new data centers, we already have them, that they are being built under very strict regulations. They're using closed loop water systems. They're not having access to our electrical grid, very common sense things like this. Then yeah, we could absolutely use some, but a de facto ban on anything is silly.
All right, thank you for that. Jose.
Yes, they don't belong in Austin, Texas.
Okay. All right. Saved us a little time there.
My time back.
I've been told that I'm going a little too slowly here. So, and we seem to have a late arrival here. Hello, Gavino. We have our other candidate for District 3, Gavino Fernandez. How are you doing? Excellent. I think we're going to have to share mics. We've already been sharing mics, but yeah. Okay. There you go. We love to see it. We love to see it. Okay. So we were next at.
Quick question. I think I wasn't able to answer that question.
Oh yeah. I may have. I got a little distracted.
No worries.
No.
The question was regarding data centers.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Zoning.
Yeah.
My answer to that is there's no place for discussion when it comes to data centers in urban places. It's been pretty proven that they are detrimental to our natural resources, especially water. So yes, I will be in favor of banning them, but we also have to be realistic. We live in Texas, one of the most preempted states in the country. Every type of change that we try to do in the city, it always gets challenged by the state. So we have to be realistic about that issue. Nonetheless, it also goes back to the issue that this keeps happening. The state comes in and says no. In those situations, I've seen city council just drop dead. They stop doing anything because, oh, well, we live in a preemptive state. I think in those situations, we have to start playing hardball tactics and trying to implement policy through indirect means, not just ordinances.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, I'm trying to kind of recalibrate myself now. For those of you who might be listening on the radio, Gavino Fernandez, who is another candidate for District 3, has now joined us here at the forum, and we'll be diving in with some of these questions as well. And I think I now begin with you, Gavino, because we're kind of taking turns answering first here. The question to you is going to be about Dog's Head. And so the Dog's Head Agreement, recently approved by Council, reduces the environmental standard for the critical water quality zone of the Colorado River. The question, and this is a question I've been struggling with, would you support reinstating the standard critical water quality zone to 400 feet in the Dog's Head? And then the question of the trail, Susana was trying to help me out with this. The question about the trail is could somebody, yes, what is that again? Keep the trail, and would you also support keeping the trail away from the critical water quality zone? Thank you for that clarification. And the question here is actually going to just be, actually, this is just a raise of hands. So I'm going to restate it. Would you support reinstating the standard critical water quality zone to 400 feet in the Dog's Head and keep the trail out of the critical water quality zone?
See,
Okay. So would you support that? Yes. You can just raise your hand. Yeah. Everybody on the panel would support it. Thank you very much for that. So now, Gavino, I'll start with you because I think this is more than just a raise of the hand for this next question. In 2024, Austin Water, our city water utility, the system lost 17% of our water from leaks. Replacing these old leaky pipes is more cost effective than expanding water supply. The question is, would you support an average $1 per month increase in residential water bills dedicated to fixing leaks and a similar but higher fee for commercial customers? And I just want to restate it because the question is, would you support on average $1 per month increase? It doesn't seem to be a flat fee, but the idea is an average $1 in residential water and more for commercial to fix leaky pipes. I hope that was clear enough. You have 30 seconds to give your response.
no, I would not increase, put no dollar out there. I mean, we're already, up to our arms with a lot of fees and whatnot, and I think we need to explore other ways to fund what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. Brock Skinner.
Yeah, I would not support raising taxes, adding fees for residential customers. I mean, commercial, yes, I support that, but this money can be found elsewhere in other services that we're paying for. We spend millions of dollars on some services that are paying their executives $450,000 a year. That is insane. We do not need to continue asking more money from our residents.
Okay, Jose Velasquez.
Yeah, I would, so long as it is equitable and it is an average, and then based on consumption or usage, and it figures a way to exclude our seniors.
Thank you. Eduardo Romero.
Definitely yes, mainly because we need to start asking, where are Austin Utilities profits and revenue going in the first place? I took a look at the general fund, and the general fund is funded 43% by utilities revenue or share or profits. So it's kind of hard for me to be in a position where we had to raise fees and utilities fees because we cannot fund basic maintenance. I think we first have to analyze our city expenditures first.
Okay, thank you. Neha Shah.
So no, I would not support that fee. And it's not because I don't care about deferred maintenance or looking at these problems in the future, but one, I think from talking to neighbors and talking to residents, I have been told multiple times there are too many damn fees, and they are sick of seeing their costs go up, even though their own consumption on an individual basis is extremely conservative. So I think we need to look at other ways we can do this important service for our communities without raising more fees on them.
All right. We're going to start the next question. No, the next question is going to be another show of hands question, but it includes a bit of a preamble here. So it goes something like this. Currently, requests to extend water service to a development in the drinking water protection zone of the city, that's the drinking water protection zone, requires city council approval, all right? This is meant to help some environmentally sensitive areas, but it does not address companies such as like big data centers or chip manufacturers that use too much drinking water. So here's the question, and again, it is just going to be a show of hands question. The question is, would you support requiring city council approval for all industrial and commercial service extension requests, these line extension requests, that use large amounts of water? That would be, would you support requiring city council approval for those projects regardless of where they are located in the city, independent of the drinking water protection zone? Again, I hope I was clear enough with that. And the question is, would you support that by a show of hands? Okay, I'm seeing everybody. I'm seeing everybody raising their hands here. Everybody's into it. Okay, on to the last section of questions here. to do with democracy and transparency. This one is also going to be a show of hands question. Texas state law allows city council to vote in secret on some decisions for Austin Energy. This was recently used to allow a secret vote on what appears to be an over $1 billion investment in natural gas generation. This has raised concerns for the community. The question is, would you support a city ordinance that would require the Austin City Council to vote in public, not in secret, on all Austin energy matters by a show of hands? And we have Eduardo Romero, Neha Shah, Gavino Fernandez, Brock Skinner supporting the idea of requiring public votes for all Austin energy matters. And we have Councilmember Jose Velasquez not raising his hand for that proposal. Now, the next transparency question. This has to do with non-disclosure agreements and lobbying at City Council. Non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, are sometimes used by developers and other businesses to share information with city officials while keeping that information from the public. Likewise, recent controversial votes, like the one on the dog's head, have also raised concerns about transparency in the degree of lobbying by business interests during council meetings. And that's outside of public view lobbying. The question is, would you support a city ordinance that defines transparency practices, like prohibiting the use of NDAs by elected officials and their staff, and prohibiting lobbying during council meetings out of public view? Would you support, you'll actually get some time to respond to, so you can say yes or no and then take it to 30, and I believe it goes to Brock, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that correct? Is it to you now? Yeah, okay. Because we had some hands questions too. Brock Skinner.
Yes, I absolutely support that. The fact that that's not already a thing is infuriating. NDA should not be signed by city employees, city officials, especially if you've been elected. And lobbying during a council meeting is, that's insanity. We should not be doing that. Everything should be open to the public scrutiny, number one, when it comes to any council decisions.
Okay. Jose Velasquez.
Yes, against the NDAs. No on the second, just dependent on the fact that there are a number of people in this room that I get texts from during council meetings, and I would hate to outlaw their access to a council member.
Thank you. Eduardo Romero.
I will absolutely be in favor of every vote being in public. It's really that simple. Public money, public incentives, public anything requires a public vote. It's really that simple.
Okay. And in terms of NDAs, would you vote to prohibit NDA, or would you support prohibiting NDAs, council members and staff?
Honestly, no. There's really no reason for some secrecy. Any type of change in the city is going to affect everybody. So everybody deserves the same amount of information everybody has.
So it sounds to me like you would support prohibiting NDAs.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Neha Shah.
So no to the NDAs and no to lobbying during council meetings. And here's the thing. I've built companies, I've worked in tech for many years. NDAs are a joke. I mean, you can break an NDA anytime and then what happens? You have lawsuits come after you. So even in the corporate private world, people know NDAs are rubbish. So I think it's even more important in the public sector for us to have that, because let's be clear, Americans are sick of secrecy. They're sick of secret parties, secret islands, and we definitely don't want secrecy in our local government. And regarding to access to a council member during a meeting, that's ludicrous. I think everyone should have equal access to all council members, regardless of whether they're a lobbyist or a private citizen.
Okay. Well, this is the end of the questions, but we do have a final opportunity for all the candidates to spend a minute revisiting any questions they might want to revisit, providing any. What? Oh, I'm sorry, Gavino. See, I knew this would mess me up. Gavino, I apologize deeply. You know.
Well, I'm a very strong advocate of transparency, and we are a government. We're a public. We're not a private entity, and there is no reason for me or any other council member to have an ongoing discussion without the public knowing. When I was working with Commissioner De Leon's chief of staff, that was one thing that if we got a project like the Dead Dog, or whatever name it is, we would have Commissioner would always tell the developer or whomever, before we move forward, you must meet with the landowners in or around that project before we move forward. And that way they will be aware of what's coming to them. And the landowners can tell the developer the kind of things they're concerned about, traffic, pollution. And the only way you're going to get this done is at the beginning of the discussion, not at the middle or at the end.
Okay. And so just to clarify, you would support banning NDAs for city council and staff. Okay. All right. And now, and I apologize for that. Now we can each take a minute, I believe, to wrap up. And I think now we're going to start with Councilmember Jose Velasquez. Your minute starts now, and then we'll go down the table.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all the groups coming together to put this on. I know that is a monumental lift, trying to organize that many Democrats in one room. In fact, I commended Kaiba and her team earlier for it all being on time, because we can get behind time very, very quickly. And this has just been run so efficiently, and it's been a great thing to host in District 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Eduardo Romero.
There you go.
Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to debate this fine gentleman over here and lady as well. One of the metrics that we usually have on candidates is how much money they have on their campaign coffers. I really advocate for everybody to look at each candidate's policies rather than how much money they have. And if somebody does have a big amount of money in their campaign coffers, really ask why they are receiving that money. Most of these people that donate are developers, law firms, and lobbyists. They don't give money for free. They're not stupid people or dumb people. They give money for a reason. So when choosing on who to support, on who to elect, I would ask people to ask candidates for their policies and their stances, rather than just assume that the biggest campaign coffer is going to win. So thank you.
Neha Shah.
Well, thank you everyone again, and thank you again for moderating. I just want to say, when I've been going around the city and talking to folks in District 3, everyone has the same thing. Austin's changing, and Austin's changing really fast. Now, change is not a bad thing. I've mentioned earlier, I've been an immigrant my whole life. So dealing with change, dealing with new environments, new circumstances is part of the equation for me. But here's what makes handling that change easier: community. And what does community thrive on? Trust. I think that's what's broken right now from what I see. And we really cannot have this happen on the local level, because let's be real, what's happening on the state level, the federal level, we are even more out of the loop. But the local level is where we can make a real big difference. And that's why I'm running this campaign on a mission to make, I guess, 7-year-old Neha happy, because growing up in India, where I was told, wait, why does the world's biggest democracy have so many problems? I'm being told, well, America's figured it out. They've been doing this for a while. And then coming here as a young adult and realizing, nope, we have to build this ourselves. And that's the platform I'm running on. Thank you.
Thank you. Gavino Fernandez. Oh, wait, sorry, you got the mic. We'll start over your time.
Hello. I just want to echo Councilmember Velasquez and appreciation in bringing all of y'all coming out here in a real cool summer to listen to our reasons of why we want to run for this particular race. From the environmental lens, our history. We were successful in finally closing the Holly Power Plant after many, many years of noise and pollution adjacent to our homes. My dad lived 2 lots from the Holly Power Plant. We were also successful in running the drag boat races out of here. Had the Brown Berets not stood up against the boat races, that would have been full of cement and bleachers, because those were the plans. So we have a long history about that. We just celebrated 50 years of civic engagement. So you'll have a strong environmental voice on the dais, since we have always been in the trenches promoting alternative energy, rain capture, all those kind of climate change. I think it's very important. So anyway, yes, I like your support. And like the Bulldog said, I just turned 72.
Happy birthday. Brock Skinner.
Yeah. Not a whole lot to say other than I am running to bring transparency and accountability. I am not a politician. I have no aspiration to be one. I am simply someone who's lived here for 12 years, has watched our city deteriorate in the worst of ways, and stepping up to help out.
Thank you. Well, with that, I want to thank all of, I think we got everybody, right? Okay, I got word for a second there. I want to thank all of you so much for your participation,